So there's been this channel that's been blowing up on YouTube recently. It's called His Story. And I've seen that actually a lot of you guys watch them. And a few people have actually asked me to react to these videos. So I thought, why don't we see what the hype's all about? And we'll watch a few of these. Subscribe, and let's watch.
I finished my 500th push-up and stood up, finally ready to beat my dad. I walked into the kitchen.
This clip out of context, I'm finally ready to beat my... Wait. There's gotta be a lot more to this situation. We are already within 5 seconds into the first clip. We are already getting in to some pretty deep lore, it seems like.
And saw him at the head of the table, and Mom flinched as she set down his plate. His face twisted the second he took a bite. Not enough salt. He immediately slapped her.
Oh, okay, this went 0 to 100 real quick. This is a speed run from 0 to 100. Not enough salt? Buddy's out here acting as if he's Gordon Ramsay, going into a Kitchen Nightmares episode, trying to eat the food the first time and give some criticism. Not enough salt. Buddy, there's a reason why there's a salt shaker on the table. There's a reason why you have salt and pepper as the two little things you have on the table. So if you think you want more salt, then you can just put it on yourself, dude.
Fell to the floor, locking eyes with me in tears. But Dad just stood up and leaned over her, clenching his fists. What did I tell you about learning to cook? He went to swing at her, but I jumped in and pushed him off, my heart pounding. I screamed, "Get off her, Dad. I'm challenging you to an arm wrestle."
Are we being so real? I mean, you start the scene with, he's doing all these push-ups. The dad is being physically abusive with the mom, is about to go beat her up. So what I'm assuming, and what would, he would go in and defend his mom, get in a fight or something like that. He's doing all those push-ups. But instead, we get some corny, odd Disney line of, you and me, we're going to have an arm wrestle to decide the fate of my mom. Dude, just call the police. I mean, maybe you have to go and defend your mom, but doing 500 push-ups and then you're like, oh yeah, I can fight now. Dude, what are we talking about here? This is actually low-key delusional.
If you lose, you're not the strongest man in this house, and you leave me and Mom forever. He instantly started laughing. You think you can beat me? Remember the last time you tried and lost? I whooped you afterward so bad you couldn't sit for a week. He sat in his chair and slammed his elbow on the table.
But he's treating this like some kind of anime battle. The thing this is the most, not unsettling, but almost the part that makes this weird is that it starts with a pretty serious undertone and theme, such as, the dad going to, beat up the mom. It's a very unfortunate thing that unfortunately happens. You know how it doesn't go down? It doesn't go down to some anime, we're gonna have an arm wrestle battle to decide who is the strongest of the household. In a realistic situation, unfortunately, you know what would happen when this kid does 500 push-ups? First of all, just doing 500 push-ups, that's great, but that's not going to change your physique it's going to change it over time. But you're just kind of getting a pump. If anything, if you do 500 push-ups in a row, you're just going to tire yourself out. In a more realistic situation, the only thing that's going to happen is the dad's going to come in and clock. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying, realistically, this is not how this goes.
His hand with a grin. My heart pounded, but I sat across from him and gripped his hand. My whole arm tensed, and I locked eyes with Mom. I got us. We started, and his hand pushed against mine, but I grit my teeth and pushed back, thinking of all my training. And suddenly, I felt his arm give. The smile disappeared from his face, and he strained so hard he went red, but his hand was now inches from the table. Mom covered her mouth, but just as I was about to give the final push to win, Dad reached his free hand out and grabbed the knife.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, first of all, what do you actually think is going to happen if you win? Do you think he's going to be like, oh my God, son, you're so right. I'm actually going to be super submissive now, and then you can beat me up, or you know what? I think I'm going to stop all this. Dude, no, nothing's going to change. I mean, I know I'm commenting on an already unrealistic situation. This isn't an anime, bro. This is not some anime battle where if you win, oh my God, I'm going to win. No, this is not how that works. But then all of a sudden, Buddy has a knife on the table. Don't you think that that knife being literally 2 inches away from the dad, he's already a problem? This is why you call the cops.
Off the table. He pressed the tip against my neck. Are you sure you want to win? My blood instantly ran cold as the sharp metal rested against my carotid artery. The fight drained out of my arm, and I let his hand drive mine down into the table. I instantly stood up, backing away from the knife as my whole body shook, hugging Mom, who was also shaking. Dad set the knife down and leaned back in his chair. You're gonna have to kill me to get rid of me. He went.
This is why we should have gone with Plan A that I recommended from the start. Call the cops, bro. This guy is clearly unstable, dangerous for you to live in this family. And your plan A was, I'm going to challenge him to an arm wrestling match, and that's how I'm going to get him out of here. What are we even talking about? Plan A should have been 911, yes, what's your emergency? Yeah, my father is attacking my mother, and now threatened me with a knife on my neck. And so the only way you can get rid of me is to kill me. So maybe you want to send some cops over here or something? No. You should challenge him to another arm wrestling match. Oh my God, bro.
I was reaching for a Sprite at the grocery store when I noticed a gap behind the fridge, big enough to crawl through. My mom was busy shopping up front, so I climbed in to explore. But when I popped out the other side, two big masked men froze and stared at me, and one was holding a gun. My heart started pounding, but then the shorter one crouched down. Hey buddy, wanna play a game? Help us out and you can have all the chips and soda you want.
Ever heard of being an accomplice in the crime? It's like if you go to rob a bank, or you go to kill someone, right? You don't do it, but you go with another person, and you drive the getaway car. There's a reason why they charge you the same way as the person who killed someone, right? Because you can't just be like, oh, I was just in the getaway car. No, dude, you get the same thing. And then also the bribery here being, you can have all the chips and soda in the world. These are two armed gunmen, dude. These are two armed men with guns who are probably going to get a huge crime charged against them. And it's like trade offer. You probably get a huge, maybe even a life sentence, depending on what they do. In return, you get chips and soda. Oh yeah.
This felt weird, but my mom never let me have snacks at home, so I nodded yes, not knowing how crazy things would get. The tall one boosted me up to a small window above a locked door. Here's the game. Crawl through, open the door, and grab the treasure inside, but be super quiet. So I wiggled through, but I knocked over a whole stack of boxes by accident. Crash! A worker called from the front. Everything okay back there? The men ducked, the gun pressed flat against the wall, but I just giggled and unlocked the door.
Bro is really about to give away all of his freedom. He's about to destroy his childhood. He's about to be an accomplice in a mass criminal case. All for chips and soda. All for chips and soda. Bro's about to throw away his freedom. His entire life. Because you know what? I want a bag of Lay's potato chips. I want a good, crisp Pepsi. Not sponsored. But I'd take a sponsorship any day. Like, we're actually about to throw everything away for literally nothing. And at any point, do you think, maybe these two men with guns maybe don't have my best interest at heart? No. They're going to give me the chips and soda, and this is totally worth it.
Inside was a room full of money, and they said the cash was the treasure, so I stuffed it into a bag as fast as I could. I was having so much fun that I dropped a handful right as footsteps came toward the door, and they yanked me into the shadows until the footsteps walked away. But reaching for the last stack, my elbow bumped a little red button, and a silent light started flashing. The men's face.
But Buddy actually just destroyed the whole mission. I mean, in all fairness, he could probably plead that he's just like some 8-year-old kid who doesn't know any better. But these robbers, oh my God, imagine what they're thinking right now. They probably started off like, we actually need someone to go in and crawl in. If it's just a kid, it's not us. Maybe we can get away with it. This is going to be a good thing. And then 30 seconds in, little bro is out here knocking over, big stacks of boxes, alerting people, and then just happens to hit the big red alert someone's trying to steal the cash button. But he just accidentally knocks into it. This is like one of those situations. It's like one of those SpongeBob and Patrick. They just happen to blow everything up in their path. Buddy is actually one of the minions from Despicable Me that seems to always just do less. Seems to pull away from the mission more than actually adding to it.
went white, and the tall one shoved the heavy bag into my arms. Quick, you got the treasure. Now run it to the white van outside, fast. If anyone asks, your dad's waiting for you. So I hugged the bag tight and ran, the chips and soda motivating me to go faster. I ran out the front doors, but the parking lot was full of police cars with their lights spinning. I walked past them toward the white van, hugging my treasure, but a cop stepped in front of me. Whoa, where you headed, buddy? I grinned up at him. I'm bringing the treasure to the van. My dad's waiting, and I get chips and soda if I hurry. But he looked skeptical, unzipped the bag, and his eyes went wide at all the cash. Son, who gave this to you? I pointed towards the back. The nice guys in the back. I crawled through the window and opened the door for them.
I mean, obviously, the cop is going to realize that this kid is not actually an accomplice to the crime. I mean, I actually don't legally know where this would stand, but to me, like, it's pretty clear the cop is just going to be like, okay, this kid was coerced into doing it. He doesn't know any better. But these robbers, right? These robbers, dude. It's something where, I don't know, dude. It's something where these robbers started this whole thing, seeing this kid and being like, free win. This is only going to help us out. But then he knocks over all these boxes. He then sets off the alarm. And then he runs to the cops and says, yo, they're right there, buddy. Like, these robbers are, I mean, these robbers seem sophisticated going in, but then they had the biggest blunder of all time.
I clinked glasses with my wife and toasted to never having kids. She smiled. This is why I love you. You're okay with never having filthy gremlins running around. But then my phone rang, and when I picked it up, an officer said, we're so sorry. Please come to Orchard Fostering Agency right now. My blood ran cold as I told my wife I needed to go. I walked into the agency with my legs shaking and saw my 8-year-old niece, Lucy, hugging her teddy. Her eyes were red.
Filthy little gremlins? Okay, look. It's totally fine if you don't want to have kids. There are plenty of the double income, no kids, like couple things I see on TikTok. I will say, like, I personally want kids. I think you have this kind of biological urge in the back of your mind that is going to push you towards wanting to do it. I think it's totally fine if you don't want to do that, whether you don't want to bring kids in the world, you just don't want that. But let's be careful. You're having a nice little casual, dinner with your wife, and she's like, yeah, these filthy little gremlins, like, yo, we gotta chill out, bro. We gotta relax for a second. Like, you don't have to want to have kids, but can we chill with the filthy little gremlins?
I knelt down. What's wrong, sweetheart? Daddy's dead, she replied without looking at me. I felt my legs buckle because my little brother was dead. But before I could even think, a woman tapped my shoulder. Lucy wouldn't talk to any of us. She asked for her Uncle Dan specifically. If you can't take her tonight, she'll have to go into the foster system. I said I'll take her in before my brain could think. We climbed into my car and my hands shook on the wheel. I told my wife I'd never have kids, but when I looked at Lucy sobbing into her bear, I knew I couldn't abandon her.
I better not hear any of this filthy little gremlin stuff from the wife when the dad and this poor niece come back to the house. I understand it. You are very much like, I don't want to have kids. But this is a situation, dude, where it's like, sometimes life will smack you in the face and you just have to adapt. And I'm not like the biggest, like, standing on my high horse, morally righteous, like, oh, this is your responsibility for everything. But I think in a situation like this, you decided to become wedded with your husband, right? You are joined as one in law and in spirit and as a person. And that also means that, like, in a lot of ways, his family becomes yours, your family becomes his. And this is now a family situation where your husband's brother dies, no one else is there, and you just need to you got to step up to the plate. I believe this is your responsibility. So I better hear none of this gross little gremlin or filthy little gremlins or whatever.
We pulled in, and I walked inside with a lump in my throat. My wife saw Lucy and immediately sneered. What's she doing here? Lucy jumped, but I told her to stay down and asked my wife to please talk upstairs. She slammed her fork and followed me while Lucy sat on the couch. She slammed the door while tapping her foot, and I explained everything. My brother's death, Lucy asking for me, her being thrown into foster care unless we took her. But my wife didn't even hug me. She clenched her jaw, and her first words were immediately, we promised we'd have no kids.
This might be the worst wife of all time. Okay, maybe all time. There's probably some worse wives, but like your reaction to your husband saying that he lost his brother. Did she not comprehend that part? Like the level of selfishness here is off the charts because you're just thinking of yourself of, I don't want to have kids, which I said it before. That is fine. You don't have to have kids or you don't have to want to have kids. But you should at least, even if you're like, I want to have a deeper discussion about, fostering this kid, maybe we can go find a better foster home together. That might be a fair discussion, right? That might be more of a conversation of there might be better suited parents where we can visit and we can be involved, but we don't have to be full-on parents. but she just is moping, ignoring the fact that her husband's brother has died, and immediately just like, no, okay, no.
She stormed out and stomped downstairs before I could react. I followed her, but she was already in Lucy's face. "We're not raising you. I'm sorry about your dad, but you're not staying. Now go pack your bags while I call the foster agency." My face dropped in horror because she'd already grabbed her phone, and Lucy actually stood up. She grabbed her bear and walked towards the door like she was going to leave.
Just the sheer cruelty of the wife in this situation is absurd. Like, at least you can be, you can hold two emotions at once. You can be upset that you might have to raise a child where that was something that you were very clear that you did not want to do for all the reasons she might have. But at the same time, being able to put that aside for the moment to figure out the next 24 hours. Like, this is something where it's like you can take it an hour, a day, a week at a time, take it a step at a time. Should have had a much longer conversation with the husband here. Should have, of course, been like, yeah, it's awful how your brother died. That should have been part of the conversation, bro. Like, are we serious? But to immediately go down and be like, this girl is like leaving the house. Dude, if I was the husband, this would be grounds for divorce. And if anything, you probably should have been able to pick up on these traits beforehand, but I don't always blame people when you're in love. You got those rose-tinted glasses on. I get it. We've all been there. But dude, right here, this is grounds for divorce.
And that's when I called out, "No, Lucy's staying." My wife put her phone down and turned to me. "No, she should stop being selfish and putting this mess on us. It's not our fault she got unlucky with her dad." Lucy said quietly, "It's okay, I'll just leave." But I shook my head and got in my wife's face. "That's my brother you're talking about, and Lucy's staying." I stomped my foot, and my wife stepped back. "Okay, then choose, me or that stupid girl." I looked at Lucy, then at my wife. "Easiest decision I've ever made. You just showed me your true colors. Get out of my house." Her jaw dropped, and she threw a wine glass at me before storming out and slamming my door.
Definitely best decision this guy's made in the entire marriage, and probably the best obvious decision that he's made. Thankfully, he made the right choice. His story has a ton of other animations. They're linked below. Subscribe to them. Watch one of these videos right now. You should click on one of these, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.